Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome everyone to today's meeting of the Senate Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections. Madam Secretary, we do have a quorum. Please mark the majority leader and the minority leader present when they arrive. I will skip the housekeeping notes that I usually go over just in the interest of time, and I'd like to open our hearing on Assembly Bill 376. We are very lucky to have our state treasurer and our deputy state treasurer here, so thank you so much for being here to present Assembly Bill 376. I appreciate your flexibility. We were scheduled for 1, and I know it's almost 2 now, but thank you for your patience.
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. For the record, I'm Treasurer Zach Conine. It's my pleasure to be here today. I was going to be with Assemblywoman Marzola to present Assembly Bill 376, but she is still in floor, so I will carry on. And then any of the hard questions, if you could save for her and hit her offline, that would be wonderful. Additionally, Chair, I would be remiss if I didn't mention just how A+ that limerick was earlier on the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Treasurer. I wish I could take credit, but it was my colleague from Senate District 9, chair of our Judiciary Committee, who is the great poet of the Nevada Legislature. She wrote that in an age before ChatGPT existed or any of the other AI editors, so I know that that predates some of this technology, and that was actually written by a real human and our colleague, the chair of Judiciary. Thank you.
Actual intelligence versus artificial intelligence. Okay. Broadly, Assembly Bill 376 creates a mechanism by which Nevada state employees are offered the ability to take paid family leave. Our offices work closely with Speaker Yeager and Assemblywoman Marzola on the creation of this bill. We appreciate their willingness to work with us on this important issue. By way of background, the idea for this bill stemmed from a number of internal conversations our office had during the interim on how to recruit and retain employees. We are endeavoring to put the human back in human resources. For us, that means understanding the limitations provided by existing state personnel rules, which provide a structure and guardrails on our flexibility. For example, we know we lack the flexibility of, say, a multinational corporation that can offer all employees unlimited PTO or sign-on bonuses. Bless you. While state rules limit us, it also forces us to think creatively and strategically on ways we can improve the experience for our staff, not only as employees of a government agency, but as individuals and residents of Nevada. As public servants, we owe our constituents a certain standard of care. So why should we provide a lesser standard for our own staff? Bless you. For example, we recently implemented a babies in the workplace policy, which allows parents to bring their infants into the treasurer's office up to 6 months of age, as we recognize how important and foundational those first few months of life are. We believe this bill furthers that charge by allowing the state to start redefining what it means to be a state employee and what benefits come along with such title. Paid family leave is one step in what we hope is many towards increasing these opportunities. We are continually looking for ways to improve the experience we offer to staff and look forward to working on more of these items in the future. And Chair, if you're all right, I'll do a brief bill overview. It's pretty straightforward.
Please go ahead, Mr. Treasurer. Thank you.
Rather than go section by section, I'll address the bill as a whole. The bill amends NRS 284, which governs the state personnel system, by adding a new section. The new section was modeled after a similar law in California and creates a provision by which a state employee may take up to 8 weeks of leave at 50% pay to bond with a newborn or adopted child, to recover or receive treatment from a serious illness, to care for an ill family member, or, in the event of an immediate family member's military deployment. Currently, state employees must use their accrued sick and annual leave and take unpaid leave on FMLA for these circumstances. While FMLA protects an employee's job, it does not allow the employee to continue to collect a paycheck in the event of serious illness or to bond with a new baby. Both events are some of the most fundamental in someone's life. I would note the paid leave allowed under the bill is only triggered if the employee has otherwise exhausted most of their sick leave. Employees are allowed to reserve up to 40 hours, or 1 week, of sick leave. We included the reserve provision to ensure that employees had some buffer with sick leave should they need it immediately or shortly after they've exhausted the 8 weeks of family leave. Paid leave allowed under this bill does not have to be taken consecutively. Rather, an employee, if eligible, is entitled to a cumulative 8 weeks per year. Finally, the bill modifies the existing allowance for sick leave to include all of the allowable uses for paid family leave. In other words, if passed, state employees could now use their sick time to bond with a newborn or in the event of a military deployment in the immediate family in order to spend down their accrued sick leave first, which of course would be paid at full time as opposed to half time. That concludes our presentation. Thank you for the time and consideration. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Treasurer. Members, any questions on Assembly Bill 376? The minority leader, and then Senator Daly, and I think that's also Senator Krasner.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just want to get this clear. So what you use versus your medical leave until you have 40 hours left. So when you use medical leave, that's paid 100%, right? And then do you get an additional 8 weeks after that at 50%?
Treasurer Conine, for the record, yes. An employee could take all of their general normal sick leave at full pay and then switch to the FMLA type coverage that would be created by this bill at half times pay. Or they could burn down their paid leave until they got to 40 hours and then move into the halftime system. The intention there is to make sure that we didn't require someone to take down all of their sick leave before taking access to this, because it obviously is cheaper than the other way.
Right, I mean, it's less, you're paid less if you go outside of your paid sick leave, but state employees can accrue quite a bit of sick leave. I mean, typically it accrues at the same rate as your vacation. Is that accurate?
Treasurer Conine, for the record, that's my understanding, yes.
Okay, and then are there any constraints on how much sick leave you can have? I don't remember seeing any before. Like how many hours you can accrue that roll forward, or?
Thank you, Senator Eric Menace, for the question. There is, I don't know the number off the top of my head. We're happy to get that for you, but it does
Okay.
burn off at a certain point.
Okay, that'd be great to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Severs-Gansert. Senator Daly, and then I thought I saw Senator Krasner. Question? No? Senator Daly.
Thank you. I just had a question regarding the non-consecutive, and I know, especially on medical treatment, something like that, it may be non-consecutive on those types of things. I need a week here, and then I can come back, but then I need time later. But there has to be it has to be a qualified event each time. It's not just I took it once, and now I'm gonna take the full 8 weeks because I got it, and I don't have to take it consecutive. But it has to be for a qualifying event if you break it up, right? So newborn child, only newborn for that first consecutive, right? So it has to be qualifying each time.
Treasurer Conine, for the record, so the goal here was to model on the FMLA rules, which from a federal government perspective are pretty prescriptive, right? There can be intermittent FMLA where an employee would take that non-consecutive, but to your point, an employee who recently had a child, that would be the period of time wherein they'd be bonding with the new child, right? That would be the event, and if the child was 6, that probably would not qualify.
Understood. And then the other question on the 50% pay. So what goes along with the pay? Is it just pay? Are they still accruing benefits? I mean, obviously, you wouldn't want to have someone lose their insurance, so what type of benefits? Does sick leave and vacation accrue at that time, or you're not accruing? Those are things, I didn't see it in the bill. I just curious, what besides half pay do you actually get?
Treasurer Conine, for the record, similar to being it out on FMLA, you wouldn't lose access to your benefits. You're still an employee during that time period. I would believe that sick leave would accrue at half the rate because you're being paid at half the rate, similar to PERS contributions and the rest, but I will confirm and get back to you. But I believe those are all proportionate functionalities.
Similar to PERS contributions, various things?
Treasurer Conine, for the record, yes, sir.
Yep.
Thank you. Senator Severs-Gansert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to see how this works with FMLA. So FMLA, you can have up to 12 weeks off, but that's unpaid. It doesn't have to be paid. It can be either way, but unpaid. So does this come first, or can someone get 8 weeks plus another 12, or how does that work? Okay.
Treasurer Conine, for the record, thank you for the question and the clarification. They are consecutive. So if you were on FMLA leave, this would effectively pay for 8 weeks of that FMLA leave at 50%, if you chose to use it.
Thank you. And is that in the bill somewhere? Am I missing some language to make sure that it's
Treasurer Conine, for the record, I believe so,
okay.
but if it is not, then
We can look for it. Okay.
And Senator Eric Menace, for the record, much of the sick and paid leave are what would be taken under FMLA now without pay
Right.
is under the state administrative manual. So we anticipate the Department of Human Resource Management would have to amend the state administrative manual if this bill's passed, but totally open to any clarifications we need in the language.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And actually, Senator Daly's question spurred a question for me. Health insurance for the employee and their family, would they need to pay for that while they're on this 8 weeks of leave, or would that continue just as if they were still employed?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Chair. Eric Jimenez for the record. Health insurance contributions would continue at the same rate that they would be covered normally. So whether the employee was paying into that, they would just continue as if they were standard employed.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Members, any additional questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any. Thank you for presenting the bill, Mr. Treasurer and Deputy Treasurer. With that, now we will go to support for Assembly Bill 376. Anyone who'd like to speak in favor of the bill here in Carson City?
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. For the record, my name is Caitlin Gatchanyan, Caitlin Gachalian, and I'm the Government Relations Director for the American Heart Association. On behalf of the American Heart Association, I would like to express our support for AB 376. The American Heart Association supports policies that ensures state employees have access to paid family and medical leave programs that provide sufficient paid time off to manage significant personal or family life events and needs. The American Heart Association understands that people need sufficient time to recover from serious medical conditions without worrying about covering expenses. Paid leave policies lead to healthier babies and birthing parents. The United States currently has no guaranteed paid family and medical leave, and access to paid family and medical leave is the lowest amongst workers who need it most. For far too many people are forced to sacrifice their savings or lose their jobs altogether when they need time to care for themselves or their family. The American Heart Association supports AB 376 because we believe that state workers deserve to savor the joys and weather the inevitable crises that life delivers without worrying about how to pay the bills. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much. Whoever would like to go next?
Thank you, Chair. Brady Easterling with AFSCME for the record. AB 376 is a great step forward in addressing paid family leave and paid emergency leave for state workers. As the Treasurer said, these changes will help the state attract and retain talent, which will help fill critical vacancies at state agencies. So we ask you to support AB 376.
Thank you very much. Please say your name for the record and proceed.
Kent Irvin, State President, Nevada Faculty Alliance. We support AB 376 as amended on the other side to include unclassified employees as well as our classified colleagues. At NSHE, the various institutions have different procedures for family and medical leave, particularly for faculty members during a semester teaching assignment or on a usually rigid probationary timeline. AB 376 will provide extra flexibility. AB 376 applies to, quote, an employee of the executive department of the state government, unquote, which includes NSHE faculty and staff. However, I want to point out that the exemptions from Title 23 in NRS 396.251 and 396.7953 mean that the provisions of NRS 284 do not apply to student workers, graduate assistants, postdoctoral researchers, medical residents, or Desert Research Institute contract and sponsored research employees unless otherwise provided by the Board of Regents. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Irvin. Anyone else here in Carson City? I'm not seeing anyone. Broadcasting, can we go to the phone lines?
To testify in support of AB 376, press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Jamelle Nance, that is Jamellellenance. I'm the Director of Prenatal to 3 Initiatives with the Children's Advocacy Alliance. Today I'm testifying in support of Assembly Bill 376, establishing provisions governing paid family leave for certain state employees. Paid family leave is a critical component to support families financially and emotionally during their most important life transitions. Without paid family leave, something as unexpected as a car accident could be detrimental, causing instability in other areas such as housing and food security. Taking a look from an early childhood lens, research shows by providing parents with the time and financial security to stay home and bond with a new child, state paid family leave programs can improve the economic security and overall health and well-being of the family while keeping parents engaged in the workforce. Implementing this bill for certain state employees is a huge step in the right direction that we hope will set the precedent for other employers across the state. Today, we urge your support of Assembly Bill 376. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chair. There are no more calls wishing to testify at this time.
All right, thank you very much. With that, I'd like to go to anyone opposed to Assembly Bill 376 who wants to be heard here in Carson City. I cannot see anyone on the phone lines. Anyone opposed to AB 376?
Thank you, Chair. The public line is open and working. However, there are no calls wishing to testify in opposition at this time.
All right, thank you. Now neutral. Anyone who's neutral on the measure and wants to be heard in Carson City? All right, on the phone lines, broadcasting anyone neutral on AB 376.
Chair, there are no calls wishing to testify neutral at this time.
All right, well, Mr. Treasurer, any closing comments you'd like to make? We appreciate you being here to present the bill. Deputy Treasurer, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us, Chair and members of the committee. Senator, as a clarification, it is 90 hours is the cap, which is in NRS 284-355. 90 days, I'm sorry. Not 90 hours. That would not be enough. Yes, 90 days. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Treasurer. Any other questions? No? Okay. All right, thank you. With that, we will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 376. And the last item on our agenda is public comment. We'll open up for public comment here in Carson City. I cannot see anyone broadcasting on the phone lines. Anyone who wishes to make public comment?
Chair, the public line is open and working. However, there are no calls wishing to provide public comment at this time.
All right, thank you very much. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you, committee members. Thank you.